All right, here we go. Storytelling. Where would we be without it? The importance of stories and how to tell your story as an artist. That's me, Amario. All right, storytelling. Let's agree on a definition here before we get into it. Storytelling is the social and cultural activity of sharing stories, sometimes with improvisation, theatrics, or embellishment. And embellishment essentially just means like making something bigger than it was, um, adding on some details just to make it seem more entertaining or extreme or intriguing. Every culture has its own stories or narratives, which are shared as a means of entertainment, education, cultural preservation, or instilling moral values. Scenarios, narratives, news, representations, statements, or speculation of things that may or may not be true, but sometimes the story around the possible truth is intriguing as well. All right, so here's the key here and what I want you to think about as you listen or watch this presentation. What parts of your story and interests are you comfortable sharing with the public? And how can you create a shareable narrative? What actions can we take each day to create and tell stories that will pique interest and create emotional bonds with people? In most cases, in today's day and age, new fans or people that become aware of an artist is because of the story around them, not necessarily a new song. Now, with the social media era, distribution is in our own hands. So we have to create stories that are intriguing enough for people to want to check us out and decide that they want to either listen to our music or interact with us in some way. See, in the past, artists were really only promoted during their album cycles. It's really on the artist to create different activations to keep fans intrigued when they're off album cycle, or a promotional cycle for a new project or single. In those off days, when they are not trying to bring in new fans, but rather continuing to build the relationship with the people who are currently there, artists are sharing their personal stories and giving themselves the opportunity to inspire others by showing them a new point of view in the world that they haven't seen before. And by telling your story, you empower yourself to take control of your narrative and owning your life experiences and perspectives. This is a way that can help people get to know you better, and connect with you and have different reference points to learn more about you and hopefully discover your music and your art and become a super mega fan. Most people, you don't know, everyone doesn't need to become a massive creator or artist or anything like that, but generally understand that most people are within a comfort zone of keeping most aspects of their life pretty private, other than their pets, what they're eating maybe, where they've traveled to, and their significant others. But as artists, we have to share more about ourselves. We don't have to, but if you'd like to grow and increase your bond with people and your potential audience, we'll need to share more stories than the average person, to give them more options of potential connection points for them to relate to us with, right? Cool. So just a little history lesson on the history of stories. History, whatever, you get the point. Stories have been told for thousands of generations. It's how we communicated past and current events, culture, and values. So humans first developed language 100,000 years ago, back in the Neanderthal eras. That was what the scientists say is 100,000 years ago when we first developed the language. And this was with the purpose to transfer knowledge from generation to generation. This could be how to get away from a lion or something. Like, I don't really know what was going on back then. But maybe it could be like building a hut or something, but whatever. They were transferring knowledge to each other and communicating, and that's when it started. And around 27,000 years ago is when we started cave drawing. So if you see an Ice Age and the images of the mammoth and how people took down mammoths back then, that's a real thing. So that was around 27,000 years ago. Writing in text was developed 3,500 years ago. So relatively speaking, pretty recent. This is when we first started writing. And just for fun, PowerPoint was created 34 years ago. So no matter the medium, the purpose is the same. We are just transferring knowledge and information in either an educational, entertaining, inspiring, or informational way to get messages across from one person to another. And the story that I really like that illustrated this well, or the value of being able to tell a good story, was a story told by David J.P. Phillips, who let us know how a man purchased $129 worth of random knickknacks and like kind of just not junk that people are getting rid of, but not too far off from that category. And this man was able to resell all of these knickknacks for $8,000. So there was 200 of them, and they amounted to $8,000 in resale value because he recruited 200 authors to rewrite the story of those knickknacks and where they came from, who they were owned by, where they came from, who made them, like just creating a totally new lore for these very normal, ordinary objects, was able to create them sense of new value and intrigue that people would pay a lot more money for them. Cool. So intentional storytelling. You can aim to make people feel certain emotions with the stories you tell. And I feel like a creator that does this very well is Dave Chappelle. He will start off his stand-up sets with one main idea, and he will send us off with that core main idea that he introduced in the beginning. And the core of the message, most of the stand-up, is the through line between that main idea at the beginning and end. And I think he's very great at being able to do it and can tell a very cohesive story while making jokes and entertaining people. And I think there's a lot to learn from him. So a few things you need to understand to make a story more intentional. You need to understand who you're telling the story to and tailor that story to either meet their needs or present them information that they need to know. And really just focusing on being clear and concise. Otherwise, you will lose people's attention or they just will not care about what you have to say or show. And the goal of having an intentional story is that you're going to create an emotional bond with the people that you're telling a story to. And these emotional bonds are what makes people feel something. The real key to getting people to know who you are or be aware of you is that you made them feel some kind of emotion, or they can attach some kind of meaning or understanding of who you are based on that experience. And essentially the goal of telling stories, whether they're from your life or they're your interests or they're from other people's lives that have inspired you, the goal is to make yourself more memorable and intriguing so people will engage and interact with you and hopefully your music and even hopefully more your artistry and creative process as you grow through your life. Cool. So types of emotional bonds that we can have to people. There's positive emotional bonds and negative emotional bonds. Some of the more positive ones that I think are very common in the field of being an artist is attraction. So a feeling of physical or emotional attraction. Like some celebrities are literally just celebrities for being attractive people. And I don't think it hurts to be attractive along with the art that you create. Yeah, definitely brings more attention. And there's also excitement. It's a feeling of enthusiasm or anticipation that the next thing you do is going to be even crazier than the last thing, or even more entertaining or more fun. And comfort. I feel like a lot of people can think of one song that they put on when they need to feel a sense of comfort or relaxation. The first time I ran through this, I told a story about Kid Cudi. His song Day and Night I had on repeat because it kept me distracted and comfortable while there was a really bad storm outside. I was like 9 years old, so I was a little afraid of thunder and lightning. And I put on that song and it was spinning on repeat because it made me feel comfortable. And other positive emotional bonds that you can have with people is a sense of trust, just interest, curiosity, and intrigue. That's like the kind of content that is supposed to reach as many people as possible to at least get them to come in and check you out. Sense of respect. These are mostly like the OGs. Like we salute them. Sense of understanding, empathy, insights into their feelings or how they felt. And people have been through similar things that we've all been through, so we can empathize with each other, and just connection in general. That's really where it starts, being able to relate to each other for any amount of reasons, right? Cool. So there's also negative emotional bonds, and you can incorporate this into your brand. Like this is all up to you. And maybe there's some stories that you can tell when you were in a situation like this in your lifetime. So this could be codependency, which is just excessive emotional and psychological reliance on each other or a person, entanglements, like a lack of boundaries and blurred lines between each other, just general traumas, like things you are afraid of, guilt and getting trapped in situations, feeling possessiveness, like a feeling of ownership, jealousy, lack of trust, manipulation, people manipulating you or manipulating people, what you learn from it. Like these are all things that you can create stories from, or tap into your well of stories that generate these feelings in other people. Cool. So that's exactly what I'm going to get into, is tapping your well, inspiration for stories. So potential topics for you to create stories. You can create stories from your personal experiences. So these are different events in your life that have shaped your worldview or changed the direction of your existence. And I'll come up with an example for each of these. Something that has shaped my worldview, changed the direction of my life. A lot of my family passed away late in my elementary school years, so that like kind of woke me up to the reality that like life can be fragile and it is temporary, but we should try to make the most of it. And people will say goodbye to us when we're gone, and hopefully we have some people there, and they say nice things about us when we go. Cool. We talk about our creative process. So share something that came to life through the original spark into the production to the final product. This can inspire fans and also other creators that are following you. So something that I like to do, I like to try a little bit of Speed on a beat or a finished song. So it'll speed up, it'll get pitched down, it'll go slower, and I'll hear new things, different nuances that I didn't catch before at its normal pace, and I can iterate from there. So that's something that I like to do in my creative process. The influences that shape your art. These could be favorite songs, movies, creative works, or inspiring people. Something that I'm influenced by are two artists that I really enjoyed their music, Kendrick Lamar and Tyler, the Creator. I think they both, one, have created great music and entertaining music and things that have storylines under the surface, and have created other things outside of just the music. So they are definitely influences on things that I do. Inspirations. These are many moments or people that have motivated you along the way, or someone who even sparked you to embark on this journey of artistry. So for me, an inspiration is Kobe Bryant. And he had a very strong work ethic that not only he speaks on, but other people have attested and confirmed for all of us that it is true, that he was one of the most hardest working people. And that's what the path that he took to look to accomplish all of his dreams. So he was a very inspirational person for me. Challenges, these are different obstacles you face and overcome, and the lessons you've learned along the way. These can create a sense of empathy and connection with other people who have been through the same thing. So some challenges that I've went through, that I'll probably get into a little bit later also, is that I wanted to get a 4.0 one semester, and it was super difficult, but I learned a lot through there and through that process. And I was able to like share some tips to other friends that wanted to, change the course of their educational and college career. So cultural background. So you could tell stories from your cultural background. So this could be nationality, ethnicity, where you grew up, how you grew up, important figures in your culture, and especially childhood stories, because people always find those funny. One that I shared previously that is very cultural is like trying to get waves. So we cut our hair very short, and we're basically just brushing it downwards every day, and then put on a do-rag, and take it off, brush a little more, do-rag before we go to sleep, brush, do-rag. And when you wake up the next day, since your hair is curly and there's some pomade in there, some oil in there now, your hair will make a little wavy pattern. But that's just like just a thing that's really in like African and Spanish, Latin communities that we do. But I have an afro because that is a lot of work. But that's one thing. Places and locations that have inspired you and have meaning to you. You can tell stories about those. Like this could be like a location that you traveled to, or your home itself. I feel like something that sticks with me. I went to Miami to the Pro Bowl in 2010 because it was in Hawaii for 1 year. It was cool. I just got to hang out with my grandpa, my dad. And it was just a time that was cool. I was a little young to be like thinking about music or artistry or anything like that, but I'm sure I could tell a story about that, and somebody would be interested, especially like other fans of football. Hobbies and interests. So sharing stories about things that you like to do outside of music and the content that you're making can give people a sense of the actual human that you are behind the art. So you can connect people on a more personal level. I personally like to play basketball. I almost played in college. I decided not to. And I play a lot of video games. Not a lot, but I like to play video games. FIFA is my favorite game because it just takes my mind off of stuff, and it's relaxing and it's fun. But I'm sure there's a lot of other people out there that like FIFA too. So this is something else that people can relate to me on. Collaborations. With whom or where have you done work? This can give people a sense of who and what you're connected with. And by learning about them, they learn more about you. And like when I wrote that, I kind of thought about like when artists, they post a picture of themselves with another artist, and it's like not only the association that like they're associated with this artist, but it's like, okay, so if they co-sign them enough to like put them in this picture, then maybe there's something that other artist is doing, or that I'll like, or and vice versa. Like, so both fan bases can like get to know each other or learn about the other artists just because now they've associated each other. And also I worked with Jeremy Zucker's team and Blackpink's team and helped them create some activations while I was at Bravado. And I could definitely tell stories about that. And I'm sure some fans of their brands will have like questions or just think it's cool. Activism. So if you're into social and political issues, or you have an opinion on them, some artists use their platform to talk about these things. They'll tell stories about their experiences with it or other people's experiences, giving the voiceless platform through their platform. And this could just be like speaking. It could be actually going out and volunteering, going to a protest, different things. And I had performed a spoken word poem at a protest, and people thought it was pretty cool. Yeah, so these are all just different buckets for you to fill up your inspiration well with. Letting people know about these different topics and your background, all these places to pull from, will allow people to see the world from your eyes and let them know how these events have affected your art and your worldview, and you just become more interesting because you're an interesting person, whether you believe it or not. Well, here, this is exactly what you can do to start telling your story today, to get people to know you better and connect better to your art and what you do. Sweet. So 99% of the time we are getting messages that build connection either through entertainment, information, or inspiration. E.E.I.I. Hopefully that's easy enough to remember. I'm going to keep saying it to try and make sure that it sticks with you forever. So you can think about and consider the other person on the other side of the screen. Like, is this educational? Is this entertaining? Is this inspiring? Is this informational? You can refer back to that and think like, can somebody actually get something out of this? Or will they see this and feel like it's a waste of time, or just not even be interested enough to stay there for more than 1 second? So like kind of just consider these questions. What will they get out of it? How will they benefit or be harmed if you're into that? How will this push your mission and agenda forward? Is this aligned to who you are and your brand and what you're trying to represent? Will this make people feel like they belong in your community or your ecosystem? And can this capture people's attention in the first place? Is the way I tell this story creative and engaging, or whatever you do? Like if you're performing, also, is this engaging the way that I'm presenting my creativity? Just to run through information, inspiration, education is teaching the audience something new or something uncommon. People like to learn new things, and they can learn new things from you. Doesn't necessarily have to just be music related. It could just be one of your interests. It could be something you learned in school. It could be something you learned somewhere else online. But if it's interesting to you, it could be interesting to your audience. Entertainment, pretty clear. People love to be entertained, whether that's through your music, or if you're a performer, if you dance, if you're funny, you make skits. Like you can pull different inspiration, different stories, either from your own life or other people's lives to entertain people, make them laugh, have fun, and forget about whatever is going on in their life. Information, these are different stories that are engaging, thought-provoking, make people think differently and challenge their current assumptions. And this could be like news, developments, trends. These are all things that you could be interested in genuinely. Like you don't have to share everything. And I think it's better if you don't share everything, because then it's authentic to you. And things that are authentic to you will also be authentic to your audience. And then finally, inspiration. Anything that you find are uplifting, empowering, motivating, encouraging, something that can inspire people to think differently about their lives or the current state that they're in, and motivate them to get out of it. So those are the 4 key stories. And I feel like any story or piece of content that you see for the rest of the day, you can notice whether or not it's educational, entertaining, informational, or inspirational. Cool. So where can you tell these stories? There's a lot of mediums now that we control distribution. And since we as people control the distribution, there's definitely a crowded landscape, but you'd rather have it than need some kind of record or creative deal to reach more people than our local audiences. So still the key is to consider the person on the other side of the screen, so you're not just making something that is useless to other people, if you want to make stuff for yourself. But definitely want to consider the other person on the other side of the screen if you'd like to grow and reach new people and connect. So the different ways you can post and reach people: you can write on Twitter, Medium, Quora, which is like a question and answer platform. So if there's literally, you're in a mood to try and help people overcome their anxiety or something like that, there's someone asking a question about it and you can provide some feedback, and like, hey, if they like it, you can put your Spotify link at the bottom. Or if you're really good at math, you answer someone's math problem and be like, hey, like maybe since I help you out, you check this out, let me know what you think. Right? Like you can do that. It's totally up to you. A lot of people like to write on Reddit, and no, they'll attach photos to it as well, and I have that in the next. And you can also write in your captions, like on Instagram. And I feel like every platform has captions. They have credit character limits, and it's really up to you to use that space as you wish. Just try to make it cohesive for people to consume properly. There's pictures, so that's IG. Pinterest is really big with outfits and art inspirations. So a lot of people go there to curate different outfits and like pictures and artworks that inspire them or give off a certain vibe that they like. So that's also a place where you can connect with people. Reddit, as I mentioned before, VSCO is literally just photos. Like there's no likes. It's literally just like a feed of photos. Like if you're into that. And TikTok also has a carousel feature now. Audio, obviously your music. There's podcasts. You can either start your own or go on other people's podcasts. And YouTube, I am a proponent for just listening to YouTube a lot of the time. Like when I'm doing something I don't necessarily enjoy, whether it's like doing the laundry or washing some dishes, I'll usually have something on in the background that I'm not necessarily watching, but I'm listening to it. There's videos, clearly, of course, music videos, TikToks, IG Reels, YouTube Shorts, and Twitch. After you live stream, you have the option to keep videos up there. And also a lot of people do that as well. There's a lot of people on Twitch who might want to look into it if you're interested. Live streams, IG, TikTok when you're at 1K, Twitter Spaces, you're on live, like your face isn't there, but you're talking live. And I've had a lot of people follow me through there. And there are rooms to perform or like share your music, and people will like follow and interact. Clubhouse, similar vibe to Twitter Spaces, YouTube, and Twitch again. And on stage, this is like your performances in between tracks, in between songs. You can tell different stories, either about who you are or like how the next song came about. And those are the kinds of stories that help people connect to you more than just the music. It's like the person that made it. And it can help out your performances, like showing a little bit more of your personality. It gives people something to connect to. Speaking gigs, if you like to speak, you can share like your music there if you really wanted to. And when you're leading something like a club or a workshop, events, you can tell your stories to other people in conversations one-on-one or in groups. And at pop-ups, if you really wanted to do that, I put this guy here, like the change my mind with the coffee cup meme guy. Sit at a table with a topic and see if anyone will come talk to you. And this is something that you could film. Like if you go somewhere with some foot traffic, and set up a camera and a table just like this, there are people that will stop in and talk to you. Hopefully you have some mics so it's good audio. But yeah, this is totally something you could do. And I was joking, like saying that I could go somewhere in the city just like this and be like, The Iron Giant is the best animated movie ever made. Change my mind. And I can debate people on animated movies all day and see what comes of that. So definitely consider that. I think it'd be like pretty funny, or it could be something serious. Like if you wanted to talk about a social issue and you like wanted to just debate random people on the streets, you can. I feel like this is all part of your artistic process. Do what connects to you. Cool. More tactics, getting other people to tell your story. So I put these pictures here to show that a lot of these music pages or blogs or like different pages online don't only show like, oh, this person's dropping today, or new music from so and so. It's like there's other stories that are being told that allow people to connect with an artist in a different way. So I have a picture here, Travis Scott, that was saying he was late to a concert and a fan DM'd him. He said, "Where you at?" And Travis responded, "1 sec, bro." Like on my way, like that kind of thing. And people just found it pretty funny. This had like thousands of likes and comments, and had nothing to do with Travis's music other than the fact that he was going to be at a performance. But this was posted on a blog. Lil Baby be getting everyone's stuff back. This is talking about how he secures people's hard drives after they get stolen. Lil Baby is just the man to go to in that situation. And this is something that was posted. Lil Wayne is officially a pro skateboarder. Has nothing to do with his music. Shout out to Wayne, but like nothing to do with the music. So it doesn't have to deal with the music to reach a blog. Like if it's similar to your interests and it's something that you do. And then we have Central C and I Show Speed on Twitch together. They're FaceTiming and while on a live stream, and this got posted somewhere else. Like literally it's just them having a conversation and being entertaining, and it's posted on another platform. And then the one music thing here is that Yeet preview 2 new snippets. So hopefully the message here is that you're pulling from this is that not everything that you send to social pages and blogs has to be something that's music related. It can be something that's just generally related to your personality, or it could just be something funny. And like these pages need content. Like of course they're working hard to create new things and stay tapped in with the culture. But if you have something funny that's either doesn't even have to be funny, it's educational, it's entertaining, it's informative, or inspiring, it can get onto a page that needs good quality content. And I also have here, you can join other people's live streams and do the same thing. You can entertain, educate, inspire, inform. And usually if you go on TikTok, like people can ask to join live streams, like or there's someone you enjoy, you can ask. Like there's no harm in asking. Like if you're gonna hang out there anyways, maybe they'll let you come up. Who knows? You can ask to go on other people's podcasts, do the same thing. You give people more to connect to, and it's more of a long form platform, a podcast. So they could ask you questions about your background and all the other things that we went through. And it's not just your music, you're giving people different things to connect to. And on your side, you can chop up parts of this podcast, then that's more content for you to post and more ways for people to connect to you. Yeah, and also you can submit content to different pages that are speaking on like a specific topic. Like if you're really into clean or green energy and you have like a very specific perspective that you shared one day and like it got a lot of engagement, a lot of conversation, you could submit it to other pages where that would be relevant, and maybe they'll post you, and maybe not just post you, but they'll credit you as well and allow the opportunity for people to click into your profile and see what you're up to. And of course, you can ask people to share something for you. I've done that in the past. I made a song that really wasn't relevant to anyone outside of Oneonta, like my college community. And I had put it up overnight. So I had sent it to about like 50 of my friends that were up there, and it would have just done nothing had I not sent anything or sent it out to people to share on their pages as well. But that really shot up the views and engagement and comments, and it was like the most quote unquote viral song I ever had. One, because it was telling a story and it was a polar perspective. So I took one side and was very strong on that side. So it spread, and a lot of people liked it. I think it hit all four: education, entertaining, and informational within that track. So ask people to help you share things. Just have a balance and don't ask for too much too often. Usually leave at least like 5 to 7 days in between your requests, so you're not trying to enslave or just force people to do everything you say. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, all right, cool. A very common storytelling technique is the hero's journey. You'll see this a lot in superhero movies or thrillers, or something, a story where people need to overcome something. It's not just like it's like a random plot. I don't know. So very often these are told to inform the listeners how you've overcome a challenge or the result of a pursuit that you had originally. And it usually flows like this: you were searching for a change or a pursuit of a goal. The opportunity to pursue the goal shows up and you accept the challenge. Life then becomes unfamiliar and you're faced with new obstacles that you've never faced before. Then you adapt to those obstacles, those challenges, and you overcame them, either in a good or bad way. Nonetheless, you survived. It might not have been overcome in the way that you imagined it would, but you're still here, so you have a story to tell. And then you receive what you want, and what you wanted at the end of the day was an outcome of reality that manifests itself from the original pursuit. Then you realize that what you had to change, give up, and lose along the way to get there. You return back to your familiar situation, either physically, mentally, or spiritually, but you realize you are not the same person because of this original pursuit, and there's no turning back. You have to move forward with your new and current situation. And since comfort rarely lasts forever, the cycle repeats itself, and you return back to step one. So that's usually how, or that is how the hero's journey goes. I could try to walk through, I'll walk through a quick story, basically using this. So I wanted to get a 4.0 in my spring semester, my junior year, and I took 21 credits when you're supposed to take 15. So I was putting a heavy workload on myself, working 2 jobs as well, and trying to be, well, I was in a play and being in a play. Someone's in the chat real quick. I was gonna watch. All right, catch you later, Liz. So if you are, so back to what I was saying. So I wanted to get 4.0 in the semester, and opportunity just shows up. I accepted the challenge. Life became unfamiliar. I had all these new classes, all these new professors, these challenges to face, and I had to adapt or overcome them, and I did. I didn't get a 4.0, but I got a 3.75, which is still pretty good. I got what I wanted, an outcome, a reality manifested from that pursuit. I realized what I had to change, give up, and lose along the way to get there, which was like hanging out, going out to party, not studying, or just not studying hard. And I had to change a lot of behaviors. So I had to leave those behaviors behind to get there. I returned back to the familiar after the semester. I came back home, but I was a totally different person from this experience. And there was no turning back. I moved forward. And since comfort never lasts forever, the cycle repeats. So that's basically how the hero's journey works. It wasn't a perfect through line there, just because I had to explain each step. But if I took that transcription and cleaned it up a little bit and made it a little more like extreme, or maybe embellish some things and just make it more entertaining to listen to, or informative, or talk about each step in depth rather than, flying through like I just did. It can be educational, entertaining, inspiring, and informational. So that's how you tell a hero's journey story. Cool. So the message here is that the more stories you tell around your personality, your music, your background, your daily life, your interests, and anything else you can think of will give people and fans the opportunity to relate and connect to you and with you on a deeper level. Storytelling is the most humane thing we do. It is the way we make sense of our lives, and it is the way we share our lives with others. That is a quote from Brene Brown. Cool. So the key here, the unlock, is once you get comfortable sharing different aspects of your life through stories, you allow people to create new connections and deepen the emotional bond they have to you. And that is it. So thanks for tuning in, if you're catching this on the recording. And yeah, go tell some stories. Don't be afraid of rejection. If you're rejected, there's somebody else out there that will accept you. So keep it up. Keep doing your thing. You're going to make it, I promise. All right. Peace out.